Today, the title of the talk, the Sunday talk, is called The Fires of Agni Yoga. And as I was reading a book called Agni Yoga, I decided I should change the title of the talk because in what I was reading, Master Moria was saying, let us smilingly contemplate the fiery life. And that is really what I'm talking about this morning, the fiery life. I love it. It's even for people who don't understand Agni Yoga or understand fiery, this makes the whole concept, for me anyway, come alive too, and not seriously and not with solemnity, but smilingly, he says, contemplate the fiery life. So smilingly, this is what we are going to do this morning. Helena Rourke, the founder of Agni Yoga, wrote to one of her students about this fiery energy. And she says, fiery energy is exactly the fundamental energy because fire is manifested in everything. There is no life, she says, without fire. There is no manifestation without fire. The highest manifestation of this fundamental fiery energy is psychic energy. And the qualities of this energy are unlimited. So in all that Helena Rourke was telling her student, ultimately she is echoing what Master M told us to do, to smilingly contemplate the fiery life. So that's what we're going to do. The Agni Yoga teaching is the teaching of the inner fire. Essentially, is the teaching of the inner fire, the manifesting spark, the teaching of the inner fire and the manifesting spark. These are two important points. And the next point is this, that Agni Yoga stirs. Agni Yoga, the practice of Agni Yoga, stirs our inner fires. And in this process of stirring our inner fires, this awakens our virtues, it awakens our dreams, it awakens our visions. So this is why so many of us are drawn to the path of Agni Yoga. And it's not just a process of reading the books day by day by day, or contemplating a verse or a paragraph. It is putting it into our life, our fiery life. Now here's an example of one who did this. This is about a man who is an American Russian and who studied it and graduated from Harvard. His story is very simple, perhaps not so easily done, but this is about Peter Serogan, who is he was a friend of the group whose fires were ignited within him. And here's the story. One day, Peter Serogan was walking to church in Boston, and there was a lot of snow. He saw that someone was walking in front of him, and that person's shoes were really bad. He thought to himself, why doesn't this man have shoes? What if I give mine to him? Now keep in mind, this is Boston in the middle of winter, a lot of snow on the ground. So he said to the man, take your shoes off and let me see them. What is it? Said the man. Peter said, I want to give you my shoes. And he did. So here is Peter Serogan, now a professor from Harvard, who had a masterpiece nature. And he put these old shoes on with his new suit. They looked funny, these old shoes looked funny with his new suit. And when he came to the church, an idea came to him. He said, "You, Peter Serogan, are going to church in those shoes. So what? People will laugh. Can I be indifferent to their laughter?" Then he decided to go into the church. Look at the self-discipline of his nature. And he went in. And the caretaker approached him and said, "Peter, you forgot to change your shoes." And he said, "No, dear. These are the shoes that are leading me to heaven." Peter passed in 2015. The practice of Agni Yoga ignites the fire within us. This self, this capital S, self. It is our capital S self that is trying to manifest. This is who we really are. This is why we use the term the true self. The fires of Agni transmute and transform and transfigure the whole of our nature and enables the way for the fuller expression of our true self, our inner divinity. So these three words, transmute, transform, and transfigure, these are specific fires that ignite within us and actually ignite our cells and our atoms with more intense fire, more intense energy, giving us a creativity that without the igniting of these three stages of fire, we would not have. And it does not just happen. It requires striving. It requires courage. It requires daring to create such a fiery life that our life becomes extraordinary, very different, very purposeful in the greater sense. A few weeks ago, I talked about otherness. Those who are on the path of Agni Yoga and are igniting these inner fires by the practice of Agni Yoga are truly, truly extraordinary people in a simple way. They don't stand on the steps of the Capitol and wave books in their hand claiming to be this or that. They're out in the trenches, usually quietly, engaging in extraordinary activities. And they can do this because of that divine presence coming into manifestation, the true self coming into manifestation, which means they are true human beings. They've come to our planet to reflect and to echo the higher worlds, the fiery life, the purpose of life. So, practicing Agni Yoga. Agni is an energy that kindles our inner fires. The word kindle is really significant here. It's telling us something has to kindle these inner fires. See, otherwise it's potential. So something has to kindle these inner fires. And This is why Agni Yoga was given to Helena and Nicholas Rourke back in the 1920s, showing us how to kindle these inner fires and to live a life that is truly purposeful, not just for ourselves, but for others as well. So these inner fires are a chakra system. The inner fires are our chakra system through a triple fire. So Agni has a triple fire, just like it has these three stages of transmutation, transformation, and transfiguration. These three stages, which are stages in the life of an Agni Yoga student, taking him into the realm of being an Agni Yogi. These are the stages that occur through the activation of the triple fires. And these triple fires are called electric fire, solar fire, and fire by friction. These fires manifest through our ideas, through our visions, through our talents, and yes, even our genius. See how simple this is? We take a complex or even an ambiguous statement, smilingly contemplate the fires of life. Say, what is this? What does this mean? Aspiration. Aspiration is fire. See how simple this is? Love is fire. Creativity is fire. These fires, aspiration, love, creativity, begin to increase through the igniting of these triple fires, fire by friction, solar fire, electric fire. Willpower is fire. For example, creative fire is the ability to project the whole beauty that is within your spark. That means you are the fire. You are the fire. With Professor Serogan, he, in that moment, and as a teacher at Harvard, was an expression of the fires of love and creativity and willpower. There is nothing else. The teaching reminds us over and over and over again. There is nothing else in the universe but fire. The teaching tells us we are condensed fire. We are told that space is fire. And we are told that without fire, you have sickness and destruction. So that tells us, this is a clue, that this fire can be obstructed. Somehow, in some way, living our lives can obstruct the igniting of these fires. And when these fires are not active, we have sickness and destruction. If psychic energy, the life energy, is not circulating through your whole system, then there is something wrong with you. What's wrong? This means that the whole of the atoms and cells within you are not burning. They are not alive. They are not alive. And when your cells and atoms are not alive, something is dead. Something is obstructing this fiery life. When this is relieved, when that is relieved, the life energy, your life energy, which is the fiery energy, then circulates through all of your bodies, and you have health and you have happiness and communication with cosmos. See, all is fire. When you feel something around your spine, your centers, your chakras, it means that the fires in you are ignited and charged. When you are feeling it, it feels like electricity. When you're meditating and you feel that heat going up your spine, or you feel heat in your head center, or in your heart center, a few inches behind your back between the shoulder blades, this is electricity, and the electricity is the fire that is being ignited. There's always phenomena, for a while anyway, that occurs when these fires are being ignited. We have many degrees of active fire. For example, the teachings tell us we have 5% fire, 10%, 15%, 200% fire. We can also have 10,000% fire. Our chakras, our emotional chakras, our mental chakras, our intuitional chakras. This is our inner fire. At 10,000% fire, we are told, now we become immortal. When your fire goes out, you die. But when your fire increases and never goes out, this is when we are immortal. Agni means fiery purification. Here, your innermost divine essence becomes so radioactive that there is nothing in your physical, emotional, mental bodies that will create combustion. When that fire is released, nothing. So, for example, I can attest to this. I had a moment in the mid-1990s where my head center was opening. Some of the petals in the head center were opening. It was an extremely difficult experience, seeing doctors, tests, money being spent, phenomenon taking place that was, quite uncomfortable. So I went to my teacher finally and said, "What's going on?" He said, "Your head center is opening. The dirt is burning." And I thought, how can there be dirt in the head center? Naivety. What happens is, in this 1,000-petal lotus, and the head center is a collection of everything. Dirt is karma. So the combustion, the effect, the difficulty. I'm trying to think, Helena Rourke in the book At the Threshold of the New World talked about her fiery experiences. When these fires are ignited within us, we have experiences. Some are difficult and challenging and perplexing until the combustion ends. And then you see life in a way that is so different. Seeing life differently is recognizing the purpose of life. It's no longer just having to do this and this and that and that. It is wanting to do this and this and that and that, because each want is a reflection of why you came into life, why you came into incarnation in this life. Your innermost divine essence becomes so radioactive when these fires are released. Resurrection is a state in which all of our bodies stop being bodies and turn into light. It is all electrical phenomenon. This is why Blavatsky said, if we penetrate into the secrets of electricity, we will know what the soul is. In the Bible, it says God is a burning fire. So fire is God. When you know fire, you know God. But we really do not yet understand fire, but we are trying. We are trying to understand fire. Agni Yoga, the teaching of Agni Yoga, helps us in that direction. But we now are learning and understanding the results of fire. It's like we take our computer and we push the on button and we fire it up. We get all the information that we want. That is electricity, that is fire. We can have a telepathic communication with the Master who is sitting in the Himalayas. And he contacts and talks with us because his words travel faster than the speed of light through the electricity in the atmosphere. So we are going to travel to the cosmic self. And it is best for us to start now and continuously go upward so that we decrease our sufferings and pains and diseases. White Mountain is starting up a new Agni Yoga study Zoom class that will meet once a month, the second Monday of the month. If you are interested in attending this class, contact us. It will be totally devoted to the practice and understanding of Agni Yoga. It will be so practical and inspiring. So we still have a couple of places left for you to sign up. So if you are interested, send me an email to staff@wmea-world.org. That class is going to help us learn how to decrease our sufferings and pain and diseases. So Agni Yoga is about heart. When a person's heart petrifies, it closes. You can see this in people, those who have petrified hearts. Great ones say, guard your heart. How can the heart of such a person be healed? How can one with a petrified heart have an open heart? Well, we're going to be talking about this second Agni Yoga class Zoom meeting in October. In September, we're going to be talking about how to practice Agni Yoga, but in the second month, we're going to be talking about how to open the heart and what it means to have an open heart. There was a story of a teenager whose heart was really petrified. Her mom was afraid her child was going to become a criminal. The mother said that her daughter causes all kinds of problems for her brothers and sisters. She said, "My daughter has no heart at all." So the child was given a dog. That dog helped her begin to open her heart. The dog was put under her care. Then the family hid the dog from her, and she thought she had lost her dog. "Where's my dog?" she asked. See what was happening? She missed it. And this caused another opening in her heart. Then the family brought it back and told the girl the dog was sick. She took the dog to the veterinarian and then helped to nurse the dog back to health. Finally, the heart center of this child began to really open. If you want to open the heart center of a person, you must make the person care for something, love something, and be compassionate. Do you see the fire of love opened the child's heart? This is Agni Yoga. Smilingly contemplate the fire of life. The fires of Agni Yoga. This is why we're told Agni Yoga is life. Anything you put into the fire will be consumed. What does this mean? Your capital S self, your true flame. This is your true self. Your true flame, that is you, is going to consume the body, the emotions, the mind, and then you are going to see that you are the flame, that nothing remains but you, your true self. This is Agni Yoga. So let me make this more understandable. Over millions and millions of years, we created heavy thought forms of what we are. It will take another 10 to 15 millions to destroy what we built so that we can meet ourselves. Whenever we think that we are something that we are really not, now we're going to destroy that. For example, someone asks you, "How old are you?" And you say, "I'm 35. What are you talking about? You're talking about your physical body. You've been identified many millions of years that this is you. Your 35-year-old body. It's like the story I told a while ago about, this was a long time ago, and I was secretary of a spiritual teacher, and I'd had a dream the night before about this teacher's teacher. And that teacher's teacher in the dream told me the next day to go in and tell my teacher about the dream, and that who she was and how she was and everything was just fine. So I went in the next day and told my teacher about her teacher in the dream, and I told her what she looked like, and she said, "Oh my God, that's when she was young. That's how she looked when she was young." She was identified with that body, her young body, and that's how she showed herself to me. But we are not 35 years old. We are infinite. And we came and built a little hut that we are now living in. But tomorrow we can leave it. We're going to leave it and go. I had a revelation when I was young. My cousin had died in an automobile crash when he was 22 years old. He was beautiful, tall, blonde, good heart. Anyway, someone ran into him and he died. They took his little MG car and brought it to my house. I sat there looking at that smashed up car, and I said, is this it? Is this all that's left of him? What is wrong with this picture? This little car, the car he had bought only a few weeks earlier, was that all that was left of my beautiful cousin? The day after his death, I was driving to work, and I received 2 signs that he was alive. His spirit was alive. That fire had not gone out. And then I knew without any doubt, life will continue beyond the physical life, beyond that little hut that we are now living in. That spirit within us has no sickness. When you say, I am sick, you are accepting sickness and your body becomes sick. Or people will tell you, you are so old now, you are going to die soon. And then you begin to wonder if you will die tomorrow. It's all over. See that old, heavy thought form. We are going toward our cosmic self, which is the salvation of everything. Going toward our separative self is disease, sickness, suffering, and this is what hell is all about. There is no other hell. There is nothing that God is not in. God in whom we live and move and have our being. There is no separation. It is the fire, and you are the flame. When you increase your awareness of oneness, you are already burning everything that is separative, everything that is blocking you. When your inner fire expands your consciousness, you overcome your obstacles and become one with that true self and with the self in all that exists. The only fire is the fire of love and unity. So you must love yourself, your family, your nation. This is how you find your divine being, your true cosmic self. The higher self. Okay, let's talk about the higher self. In the teaching, we hear this term, read this term, the higher self. What is the higher self? It is solar fire. The higher self is solar fire that dwells in the higher mental body. The divine spark labors to raise our consciousness, to raise the consciousness of these 3 lower bodies, vehicles, into the higher mental body. Fire by friction. The divine spark through fire by friction is laboring to raise our consciousness from being a 35-year-old physical body and maybe a 5-year-old emotional body and so forth, into the higher mental body, solar fire. We could say that the higher self is to our human soul as our human soul is to the lesser lives. Most of us on this path are consciously on the path of perfection. There's a phrase in Agni Yoga called self-perfectment. To be on the path of perfection means we are striving to expand our consciousness. To expand our consciousness means we are kindling the inner fires. And in so doing, we are creating more opportunities for our true self to manifest the inexpression. Master M says, the labor of endless perfectionment is ordained by us. And in moments of difficulty, he says, think about us. Knowing that the wireless apparatus will not delay in connecting you with us. But learn to think and to distinguish the moment of real difficulty. This is why I say, in the prayer to Shambhala, that one phrase, it says, manifest thy hand, O Lord, because great is darkness. Don't use it every hour of the day. Determine the moment of real difficulty. See, and then sound that phrase, that prayer. Manifest thy hand. Distinguish the moment of real difficulty. MM says oftentimes people take good fortune for calamity and vice versa. He says expansion of consciousness will affirm spirit knowledge, and this knowledge will lead to our community. So those on the path of Agni Yoga, we are striving to unite with higher and greater fires within our consciousness. I tell you what, I think I'm going to stop here. Because I wanted to talk about those 3 stages of transmutation and transformation and transfiguration, but I think I'm not going to do that because I don't want to saturate us in people's concentration is going out that front door to the sun. So I'm going to stop here with this. As we travel the path of life, the path of self-perfectment, the inner fire, the divine spark is going to fuse with our vehicles and then synthesize them into a whole and galvanize them into the light. At this point is when we are going to pass through that 3rd stage or experience transfiguration, which is the result of the release of fire. To fuse with the inner fire means that we are going to submit our personal, separate, ignorant will to the will of our inner essence. An Agni Yogi is a person who unifies himself with the whole, with the essence of all, because he is truly unified with fire. He radiates fire, will, purpose, energy, joy, and bliss. An Agni Yogi is a living fountain of beauty and creativity. And then let me close with this. Master M says, let us smilingly contemplate the fiery life. Thank you.